President Muhammadu Buhari has restated the Nigerian government's target of generating 30 gigawatts of electricity by 2030. He said this during a discussion panel on just energy transition at the ongoing U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit ongoing in Washington, D.C., United States of America. As part of the National Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Policy, the Buhari administration set the Vision 30-30-30, which is aimed at achieving 30 gigawatts of electricity by 2030, with renewable energy contributing 30% of the energy mix. President Muhammadu Buhari added that part of the plan of his administration was to completely eliminate the use of petrol and diesel generators by 2060, hence the need to deploy renewables, particularly solar, at an unprecedented scale. The President further explained that the Nigerian government has embarked on several reforms, including mini-grid regulations, as well as the integration of the renewable energy into the national grid. And to oil production, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, has confirmed that Nigeria produced 171,000 barrels per day in the month of November, still about 700,000 barrels less than its monthly quota. This was disclosed in its monthly oil market report MOMR for December. OPEC stated Nigeria's output increased by about 171,000 barrels last month to hit 1.186 million barrels per day, a far cry from the nation's OPEC quota, which has averaged 1.8 million barrels in the last couple of months. The OPEC report indicated that this was far less what was recorded in 2020, regarded as the COVID-19 year, when Nigeria produced 1.493 million barrels per day, and in 2021, when it averaged 1.323 million barrels per day. No less than 34 mortgage banks have been approved by the Central Bank of Nigeria to work with the National Pension Commission, PENCOM, and pension fund operators in providing mortgage financing to contributors into the contributory pension scheme. Speaking at the media retreat organized by the Pension Operators Association, PENOP, in Lagos, PENCOM said it would, through collaboration with the approved mortgage institutions, fully implement acquisition of residential mortgages by retirement savings account RSA holders using their RSA balance. The head investment department, PENCOM, Ibrahim Kangiwa, said for contributors under the contributory pension scheme to be eligible to use their RSA balance for acquisition and residential mortgages, they must have contributed for 5 years, that's about 60 months, cumulative of employers' and employees' mandatory contributions. He said the same thing was applicable to the contributors under the Micro Pension Plan (MPP), adding that married couples who individually meet the eligibility criteria were also eligible. Now to the banking sector. A total of 14 Nigerian banks have reported 2.03 trillion total operating expenses in just 9 months of 2022, representing an increase of 19.2% from 1.7 trillion reported in the corresponding 9 months of 2021. Analysis of the bank results have revealed. Apart from the inflation rate, the 0.5% Assets Management Corporation of Nigeria AMCON charges on banks' total assets and off-balance sheet items and Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation NDIC level mounted pressures on banks' expenses in the period under review. Also, the dwindling fortune of the Naira, among other factors, contributed to the rise in bank operating expenses within the review period. In the World Bank report, stated that the risk of stagflation comes at a time when high rates and debts are forcing African governments to make difficult choices as they try to protect people's jobs, purchasing powers, and development gains. Well, to join us to discuss this, we're joined by Olusegun Kwade. He's the chairman Icon District for Ikeja. He joins us via the telephone. Good morning, Olusegun.
Good morning, Dabo, and good morning to our viewers this morning.
Yes, thank you. Sorry about murdering your title. Yes, let's dive into it properly. Let's start with the first story where the president is saying Nigeria is targeting 30 gigawatts of electricity by the year 2030. Do you think we can achieve this?
Oh, well, it's always good that we have projection like this. We've had it, Vision 2000, come to Vision 2020. Here we're talking of 2030, but you ask yourself, what are the mileage that we have covered that will show the commitment on our path in making sure that we achieve that we had before us? The answer is there is no progression in the last few years. We've always been roaming around 3,000 megawatts, to 4,000 megawatts when we have the capacity to do this. We are yet to see the roadmap of some of these achievements. We can see from what the President said that we are investing more in renewable energy. This we have seen through the office of the Vice President, some areas that has been done. But we discovered that it's not just on the part of the government alone. What are we doing in making sure that the cost of this renewable energy are affordable by an average person, knowing fully well that we are trying to see for greener environment as we grow. So to me, I don't see any positive move that is in line with what the President is saying. But maybe those things are on the paper, but the action for everyone to see the visibility of it is not just there.
Well, 2060 has been set as a very interesting year where the country will no longer rely on petroleum or diesel. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, well, it's very much possible if you are intentional about the plans that have been put in place by the policy. And come to think about it, government is continuum. If there are certain things that have been put in place for the betterment of the citizen, it's something I feel we should continue to do. So, not just having a 5 years plan, a 10 years plan, a 25 years plan. If you're looking at 2060, we're talking of close to 40 years. So, what are the plans that we can all key into from now, that we will see that, okay, let's monitor the progress and the addition we've done. That which we had before Vision 2000 and up till now, there is still serious gap between the plan and the actualization. That is, the plan and the reality are not just matching up. So I want to see a situation where once we have the plan, we can monitor and come for maybe an appraiser, maybe annually or every 2 years, to know that, okay, we're still on track as regards this electricity. It's very germane because everyone requires it for economic growth. No sector do not require this. The cost of the rising cost of operation of several organizations is because of the failure of energy. Yes. And if you can get this right, it will definitely enhance the production and the productivity of every organization, which in turn will increase the economic load of the nation.
That's a very good one. Still on energy, let's move to OPEC now. They've said Nigeria produced around 171 barrels. They increased their level to 171,000 barrels in November. And we know that the country is facing crude oil theft and other underinvestment. What do you say to this? What does this signify that we added 171,000 barrels to make it about 1.186 million barrels in the month of November? What do you say to this?
Yeah, well, I would say it's a plus. You know what we were faced with. We moved from 1.8 million per barrel that we had this time last year to about less than 1 million. And if we are coming up from where it is based on the plan that the federal government has put in place through the surveillance and some other things and some information that is unfolding now, I think we're starting right. I'm sure by next month we won't be talking of 171. Maybe we would have doubled it, moving to about 300 or 400. Adding to that, then we can get back to the 1,800 and surpass it. This administration, through the Minister of State, has promised that before the exit in June, they should be able to hit back up to 2 million barrels per day. So starting with the first month after identifying and unlocking the theft in the crude oil is a right step in the right direction. But what we'll do is that we'll be monitoring month by month to make sure that we are not going down, but rather we are increasing.
All right, that's a very good one. Now let's go to the pension. In terms of mortgage financing for retirement savings accounts, they have announced 34 banks to help this. Let's look at the Nigerian pension sector, the many potentials that exist there. So is this a step in the right direction?
Yeah, it is, and like you know, there is a law that came out of the Pension Act stipulating that one can have access to each contribution, 25% to carry out on. So if we have this mortgage bank coming on board for them to provide residential, you know, shelter is one of the basic needs. If you look at the Maslow hierarchy of needs,
Yes.
if you're able to take care of shelter, a lot of things would have been taken care of. So if we have this work, it's going to be to the betterment of the citizen. But my challenge all the time is monitoring and several bottlenecks at times that is being put in place to reduce to discourage people. We should make it seamless, and some of these things, if you have the funds, we should use technology to track activities that will be going on even on the system. But I think it's the right step in the right direction. You know, giving it to the mortgage bank, then you can bill their contribution as, okay, you are entitled to this, you possibly you have some funds, take to it and set up a small building for yourself, at least to put your head somewhere. So it will increase it, but we need proper monitoring on the part of the regulator to make sure that the people's funds that they have labored for is not just being manipulated or mismanaged.
All right, now let's talking about people. Let's go to the banks now. One thing they've complained about is that one thing these numbers are showing is that banking operating expenses shot up close to 20% in 9 months of this year. We know that it's the banking sector is one of the key drivers of the Nigerian economy, but they are seeing a high operating expense. What could this mean?
Well, when your operating costs keep increasing, what that depicts is that your bottom line will keep reducing. If you maintain the same status scale. And you and I will understand that it's not been an interesting time for banks and the manufacturing sector. Aside inflation, we've discovered that there are certain things too, like the cost of power that we've discussed at the upper side. People have started changing their working hour. If not for this new introduction of people returning their cash to the bank, there are several banks who have alternated their closing hour because of the high cost of power, which is diesel. There are some that operate and close by 1. There are some that close by 3, as against the normal time of 4, where you have a grace till like 5. If you are at 4 o'clock in the bank bar, you can still be attended to up to 5 o'clock. So you discover that some of these things is actually affecting their operation. And they're going by what they said, the AMCOM charges and the NDIC statutory. So they will just look at a way to incorporate it into it. But at times when we have some of these charges being imposed on bank, it is the end users, the people that make their savings. You reduce the allotment of interest that you pay back to maybe people that have savings and some other thing. So I think it's something that we need to look into, some of these statutory fees, to see how it can be managed in such a way that it won't affect the operation of the bank. Because once the bank goes down, there is nothing for you to charge as a regulator.
That's a very good one. And we thank you very much for your insight on our show today.
Thank you very much for having me. Have a very beautiful day.
You too. Have a lovely day. Well, we'll go on a short break. When we come back, we shall look at the Nigerian stock market, where we saw a negative market yesterday. Do join us.